Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese episode 357. I'm your Joe Dick, joined by Matt Sellner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. Continues to be... You know what? I'm not even going to say it. I was going to complain about being sweaty over here, Matt, but I can't. We fall into this trap. If you listen to all of the summer episodes every year, it's just... There's a thing where I just start bitch. So here's what I'm going to do instead. I got nothing good to say. I got nothing good to say. Pumpkins are soon, right?
We're still getting to the hottest parts, though.
Yeah.
What's that saying? The night is darkest before the dawn. When the dawn is coming.
I just watched that movie last night.
Oh, good for you. I haven't seen that.
I did.
It's been a while. It's been too long.
I was going to do the triple feature.
Ooh.
And so I did Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. They were both on Hulu. I think I have Dark Knight digitally, but I don't have Batman Begins digitally. But they're both on Hulu, so I watched them. And then when it came time for The Dark Knight Rises, I'm looking like no streaming service I have is offering it. And I was like, that's fine. I have the thing downstairs. I'll just go grab it. So I go to grab the Blu-ray because we minimized all of our Blu-ray cases and DVD cases years back to just binders, except for like the special ones. So I looked in the special ones. None of it's there. I'm like, all right, sick. So it's probably in the binders. Not in the binders. I think it's in the attic where the overflow special ones ended up.
Okay.
But by the time I realized that, and I was like, well, let me just climb into the attic, grab that. I saw that it was like 10 of 11, and that movie's runtime is 2 hours and 44 minutes, and I was like, well, that's going to be tomorrow.
So Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I was looking to see. I forgot which ones I have because I know I have the Dark Knight on Blu-ray it's like the Batman mask case.
Yeah.
I got that one, but I think the other two. Actually, I don't even know if I have Rises on Blu-ray, to be completely honest with you. But I know I had Batman Begins on DVD, and I think I rebought it. I think I have that on Blu-ray as well.
I have so many copies of all, like, because those movies were coming out during that early Blu-ray date. Batman Begins came out before Blu-ray.
Yes.
And then I remember buying like a special. I was so into that stuff back then. I bought so many like special edition things or whatever, and rebuying them all. And then I think Dark Knight Rises came out, and I had a really good Dark Knight set that also included Batman Begins. I forget it was just a cool Blu-ray set. So I was like, all right, I'll just buy Dark Knight Rises on its own. And then they put out a big cool trilogy box, and I was like, I'm out. I didn't even buy that one. But yeah, I gotta go dig through the attic today, lest I pay $3.99 for a rental. But yeah, that was man, I haven't watched them in a long while.
No,
I feel like I used to watch those movies every weekend, but
yeah.
I would just no, it would be on in the background all the time.
Now I'm just seeing trailers for Tenet and just open up a theater, man. Just let me sneak in there for one movie and then get out.
Anything to do with the theater.
I'm sneaking in. I'm sneaking in for Tenet and Halloween.
You sneak in the morning before the other people are there.
I mean, that's what I'm going to do, or go during an obscure weekday.
What are is Halloween still on track?
Yeah. Yeah, I think when they put together that first trailer and whatever it says at the very end is going to be very telling of what they are thinking. But, yeah.
Wait, is that supposed to be this year or next?
Kills is this year, Ends is the following year.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well.
And then in 4 years, we're going to have yet another timeline to put into the whiteboard of the fuckery that is the Halloween timeline.
That's a fun one, isn't it?
That's a fun conversation to have. Whenever I have a whiteboard next to me and I can talk about the Halloween timelines, just let me go. And just get the popcorn ready and let me go, and I will go.
I'm just going to sit down. The other night, I fell into... I had no idea... All right, so you and I follow this video game news stuff pretty closely, right? And I used to be that way with comic book news as well, but, you got to pick a lane. And I went with this one for some reason. And... And the comic book side of things, I was just like reading through stuff and had no idea about all of this like DC 5G. And it's not like, 5G, that 5G.
Or it's not the generation. 5G causing coronavirus?
Yeah, it's not that one. Not that one. It's fifth generation or generation 5. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but ostensibly there's a whole lot of drama between all that stuff. How do I get into this the quickest way? They were planning on doing something called Generation 5, where all of the heroes and whatever are all different now. So Bruce, Clark, Diana, nope, none of them are Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Batman would be taken over by Luke Fox, Lucius Fox's son. Superman would be Jonathan Kent, Clark's son. And Wonder Woman, I don't remember. It was stuff like that they were like working towards apparently. And this event is maybe still happening in October, but might be delayed, but might be canceled or reworked entirely. But in the process, they went through this whole timeline restructuring where they put in a real timeline, like 1940 to today timeline, the events of everything that's happened in the DC universe as if it all happened in real time. Like,
okay,
they tried to, and you can do this. Like Grant Morrison did this with his Batman run, where he looked at every era of Batman as just a year in Bruce Wayne's life. He's like, you're 26 and you just go out and get messed up on psychedelics, and that was the weird 50s 60s Batman where he was wearing bright colors and stuff. He's like, then you turn 27 and you have a kid. Like, he talked about all that stuff, like, but this is like they're taking it a whole new step, and like it seemed bizarre. But you bring up the Halloween timeline, and I'm staring down this comics timeline stuff in the last 2 days, just like trying to unravel, and none of it's confirmed. It's like pieces that some people showed at a trade show, and anyway, comic books are weird. Halloween
sounds
weird.
Like a rabbit hole.
It all is. I think it's fun to dive down those things though, get lost a little bit.
Yeah, just start playing Motorsport Manager.
Yeah, man, how's it? You still going on that one?
Actually, I am.
I think I saw
the team name of Maryland Racing. We're trying to come from the bottom.
I feel like there's already like a parts shop called that or something.
Sure.
Yeah. Like probably around the corner from here. Yeah. You're on the rise. You guys are doing well.
No, we're not.
Oh,
I got decent drivers, but the car is shit. And I'm trying to, before I just throw some duct tape on this car trying to make it go faster, I got to build up the HQ. I got to fill, you got to make the foundation good.
I get
and
that.
It's going to take a season or two to make the foundation good.
Look, man, you got to play in the mud if you're going to dance in the rain.
I know. I mean, it's just, I'm just like, when you're making zero money per race and you're needing to spend $6 million to get the foundation right, it's,
it adds up.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's your week otherwise outside of Halloween?
Speaking of rabbit holes, I fell into another one this week.
Oh boy.
I learned what the internet is.
Oh. Hold on. Let me get my note.
Yes, I've learned that the internet, when it rains, the little rain molecules turn into little ones and zeros, and those ones and zeros then transmit energy into this aura called Wi-Fi 6. And then with Wi-Fi 6, we're going to soon discover...
You learned the actual internet.
Oh, and then with Wi-Fi 6, we're going to soon learn that we're all just part of the Matrix. And that's the internet.
I had no idea. Now, is Wi-Fi 6 going to cause COVID-2, or is that...
It would be COVID. Whatever. It would be whatever year Wi-Fi 6 breaks out into a virus. So that's why COVID-19 is 19.
Okay, yeah. So tomorrow will be Wi-Fi 6.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Well, whatever tomorrow brings, I'll be there.
For real, though, I did go down a rabbit hole of all that earlier this week because with the apartment coming up, I was looking at the Comcast stuff, as one does, and then I saw the $14 a month renters fee for that modem router hybrid thing, and I said, fuck that. So, I went down a rabbit hole of what Wi-Fi and routers and modem I want, and I ended up getting state-of-the-art stuff. I probably spent way too much money for what we actually need, but, whatever.
Yeah, but then you got it and it's done. Excuse me.
Yeah, I am going to take advantage, though, of the new AX band stuff. So I'm, excited about that since, my phone, I think my iPad, I'm sure like soon new consoles and stuff like that will be able to take advantage of it. Even bought myself a Wi-Fi card that has the AX band on it because I won't be next to my router in the new apartment most likely. So yeah, dude, it is
future tech. Anything they could do to make that PlayStation 4 not chug butts. I mean, yeah. I just realized after however long we've been going that I still had my headphones at full volume. So I'm sorry to listeners if there's some bleed from Matt coming through in the thing, but it is now fixed as we move forward.
Well, that's all right. I was tapping on my desk and making sounds last week like a dumbass. So, it's we're learning. We're learning as we go.
8 years later, still figuring this shit out. Speaking of figuring it out, Matt, I played and beat The Last of Us Part 2, and boy, wow.
Yes, I will chime in here and say that I've also completed it earlier in the week.
So, we're going to do a spoiler cast, and that is where you'll hear us talk spoilers. However, I do want to give loose impressions of not the story at all, but just on the game overall and gameplay, without being too specific to anything that I when we talked about this off mic last week, the framing that we were putting forward with this is, what would you have not want to? What would be appropriate for you to hear before playing it? And that's the lens that we're going with here. So if you haven't played the game, fear not. But if you are like avoiding any sort of impression about this until you play through it all the way, I guess skip ahead a little bit. I think this is probably of the 3 Last of Us games, the
3. Oh, Left Behind. All
right. Because honestly, I think Left Behind did a lot of things better than The Last of Us. I think the storytelling in that, the way they crafted it, I think the emotional beats. Yeah, and then that was where they introduced the a lot of the mechanics where you could trick a clicker into you couldn't do that stuff before, or if you
couldn't, it never showed up in the main game.
Yeah, they never gave you that organically. But yeah, so stuff like that was neat. I think even the brick throwing, I think. Could you break glass in the original game, or was that introduced in?
I think that's new in this.
In Left Behind, though, was it in there? Didn't you throw a brick through a car window?
I
seem to remember that, making an alarm go off.
I'm pretty sure the last time I played Left Behind was the day it came out.
Yeah, same.
And I don't remember.
But that, and this, I think, overall, being on the other side of it, I think this is, it does all of that to its best, right? There's no step down here. You're not sacrificing anything. I think that this is The Last of Us at its best.
Yeah, it took me a while, but I think last week I was trying to say that without knowing how it ended. But yeah, I kind of agree with that. Once it gets its things going here.
Yeah, the variety that you have approaching every combat situation in this is just, it seems endless. Okay, it seems endless. There are, though, those moments where I'm creeping, I'm doing okay. I hear the swell of that sound that I'm about to be.
Sound I was trying to describe last week. Swell is a good way of putting it. Thank you.
I knew exactly that. Yeah. But hearing that, I was like, uh-oh, they're going to see me. And then before I can realize where they are, I'm seeing, now it's a gunfight. And I feel like in the last one, if you were not meant to be in a gunfight, you were not meant to be in a gunfight. In this one, if you get thrown into one, you're good. You're going to have a good time. And I think that you, at least playing through normal difficulty, you are given so many resources that using your pipe bombs, using your Molotov, all that stuff is it's not optional. It's encouraged, right? Because it's you're fine, dude. You're going to find another bottle of alcohol around the corner. Just go. So I think just the combat was a lot of fun throughout. And that was something prior to this, thinking about the game and thinking about my mild aversion to it. When I was trying to unpack that, why was I not stoked for this game? part of it was like, I already know what it is to, like, I know what that game is to play. And for me, it was just the story beat that would drive me forward. But honestly, like, the gameplay was driving me forward a lot of the time, because it's like, you're just working through different sections, and like, I'm hesitant to even say like some of the variables just because of that, but like, there was a moment where suddenly there's a sniper, right? And like that, I'm like, oh, this is a new challenge, right? Like, it was like, you go through all the stuff where it's like stealth mechanics across the board, but there was a point where, like, once that happened, I was like, wait, this is stealth, but this is different stealth. This is something else. Yeah, it just, there's a lot of variety in that way. I thought that was really well done. I think, I don't even want to give story impressions at all. I don't want to say one way or the other.
Yeah, that's fair.
But the one thing that I did struggle with was the sense of discovery in this game. And I was so conflicted throughout this whole game with the balance that I felt was done. And that's the thing, man. I can't even like definitively say. I struggled a lot with how they doled out things you find and how you move the story forward. So there were so many times where the game, by its environment design, pushes you to these corners of these areas. Look everywhere, open every drawer, leave every stone turned, right? Like, just don't not look. But then I'd be going and I'd miss these like crucial pieces of dialogue. Not crucial, sorry. But there's like side dialogue, right? You're like wandering through with somebody. There's a triangle prompt and a speech bubble, and I am just out of their range for the triangle button thing to pop up. I can just see that they're calling to me. And by the time I turn around to hit triangle, their script has already moved on to the next thing. So they're like, they've moved past whatever the optional dialogue is, and they're moving forward. And it sucked. It was like, you know, I felt like I was missing those little character moments at times because the game's telling me, go look for, you might find a trading card over there. You know what I mean? Like, or you might find a quarter bottle of alcohol in this corner if you go there. And in my head, that was the thing I kept fighting with. Like, dude, one, you don't have to look for this stuff. Two, there's not going to be anything back there. Stop wasting your time. But the counter to that is, I did need that stuff because I was using it to craft all the weapons that the game so much wanted me to use. And two, there was always stuff. Like, when I went out of my way and felt like an idiot for like, all of the characters in the party are going that way, and I'm like, yeah, sick. I'm gonna go hang out by this dumpster for a second, see if I can find a broken pair of scissors. There was always a broken pair of scissors behind the dumpster. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. There's that, and then the one piece that I remember, like, really, I wrote it out because it was something that was like, it really broke me early on. Was okay, so I go into this apartment, and I walk through the kitchen, I walk through to the bedroom, and in order to get into the bedroom, I had to like break a window to get around or whatever and get into it, right? You couldn't just go into the door. I see there's a calendar on the wall, and I look at the calendar, and I see they have like outbreak or evacuation date marked on their calendar, and there's something else, and then they have their anniversary date marked, 30th anniversary on October 8th, 2013. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if there's a safe in the room, and the code's probably 100883. And I turn left, boom, there's a safe. I put in the code, and I'm like, dude, that is cool, right? Like, I discovered this calendar, I figured out this secret, I cracked the code, I cracked the safe. And I walk out of the bedroom, and I walk back through the kitchen to leave, and there's now a note on the thing that I hadn't noticed before. And I pick up the note, and in the note is a guide to the player on how to solve that puzzle. And it felt like it removed that, like, not my sense of accomplishment, but it deflated it and made it feel so much less cool than what I felt. And then it just kind of like, I feel like they throughout the game, there were a lot of these moments like that where it was like, hey, we want you to discover things, but just in case you don't, we're going to tell you exactly how to do it. And I'm not talking in terms of accessibility, because this game has a lot of those options. This game, I think, sets a new precedent that I think developers need to explore across the board. But to me, I kept feeling like if I was taking time to go explore an area or find a building or look on every floor of everything, the game was like, "Are you lost? You need to click L3?" I'm like, "No, I'm good, dude. I'll be okay." The safe one, like, I think that was the most like outstanding example of that, where I just felt like the note itself, where they wrote down like the instructions to open the safe, it was like, "Hey, you should probably know our anniversary, but because it's been 30 years." So anyway, I made that the combination for the safe, and it was like, dude, I've been in my relationship for a decade, and I feel like even though we're a third of the way to where this couple was, we would just know what the safe combination was, because we have an unspoken language between us that I wouldn't need to write down on a piece of paper as I abandon you in the apocalypse after 30 years. Hey, the safe combination is our anniversary. Hope you remember our anniversary. Like, what? Come on, dude. The other one that was like, there were a lot of examples like this, but this is one that stood out to me was, I'm looking, I need to find a way into this room. And this was not a room that was optional. Like, because I know that there was some of the stuff where it's a little weird and esoteric, and it's my fault. This was a narrative, you got to get into this room. And I'm looking around, the door's locked, there's a window, I think above and around it, but it's one of those windows what has crisscrossies in it, so you can't smash it. I'm like, okay, I don't know. So I start walking back through the other rooms. Maybe I missed something. Maybe I missed a corridor. Maybe I missed a hallway, something like that. And I look up and there's an air vent. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if I have to go through the air vent. That makes sense. Okay. So I'm looking for an entrance to the air vent. I end up like running back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I end up back in the room where the door is originally. And literally behind you is the entrance to the air vent right there. And it's raining and there's lightning coming in, illuminating the way. And it's like, I feel like it would have been so much cooler if it was back where I looked, right? Like, I'm not saying that I'm right or that I know game design better, because clearly they want the point wasn't for the player to struggle, but I feel like there's so many moments in this game where they could have let the player struggle and figure stuff out like that probably would have padded the game time a lot longer. So there's a balance there. With the story they wanted to tell, they needed to have a certain game length, and doing stuff like I'm suggesting is going to add that. But in terms of the world immersion and all of that, I felt like those types of things were missing, where I just like, I was looking for stuff like that, where I was like, I wanted to feel like I was actually trying to work my way through this world and not just wait for a sign of something to, illuminate the way.
Like, I see what you're saying, but I know, like, at points, and not every point, or not every spot like this. For me, I don't know, sometimes, like, the story was going, or, like, I was at that momentum of, like, all right, I just want to get through this encounter, maybe look a little bit of where I'm around and go, because I want to see the next beat, like, now. And it's that gameplay loop of gameplay, story, like, and your reward is story. Gameplay, and then your reward is story. And then sometimes I gotten those, like, things, and I know, like, a couple times, and I'm just maybe just dumb, but, like, I was struggling to find, like, an exit or something like that, and I, like, so bad just wanted the game to, like, pop up the little L3, like, where's your hint? And just to get me the hell out to go on to the next thing. And it didn't happen a lot, but, like, I think that's where, like, depending on who you are and, like, what your feelings were and all that stuff, like, I think they were trying to achieve that balance there. And it's tough to do when everyone plays a game. Like, this is not a movie, right? Like, a movie, like, you can frame a thing, you can write the narrative, like, write the script, have characters say things at a specific moment with a specific shot, and get away and have the moviegoer or the viewer, like, try to figure out, like, what it all means without, like, really illustrating it, like, like sometimes this game did. So I just think it's like, it's one of those things where I think video games are still evolving there as a storytelling. This is like a, telling a story in a way that, movies can. But it's just one of those things where I think video games are just so different because, like, I don't want to say how long this game is, but, like, this is not a 2-hour game. Like, it's not a 2.5 or even a Christopher Nolan 2.5 hour. It's far longer than that. So,
no, I think that's a me problem too. Our friend Tyler asked me what I thought of it, and like midway through or something, and that was one of the things I lodged at him, was just like, yeah, he was like, wow, he's like, I didn't think about that at all. And his frame was like, he's like, you look at this stuff differently and you play a lot more games than I do, just, by volume. He said, so for him, it's just a story along the way, right? Like, it's not the weird stuff like I'm nitpicking is stuff that is just a vehicle to tell the story he's engaging with. And I know I'm being like, I'm looking at it through a micro lens on some of these little things, but it was just like, that to me is the part where The Last of Us Part 2 was like at its weakest. Was, I don't know, like there's an argument there for like,
I don't know, like I feel like if you can't put it together, I'm glad it's there. But like I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly, and like when I saw the note, because I saw the calendar thing too, but I didn't put the year together. I forget what it was, because the year, I don't think the year was like stated in the calendar.
It just said 30th anniversary.
Maybe that
and then
was
I knew
it.
it
I
was
didn't deduce,
2013.
I didn't initially see the year, like the calendar had on it, because I forgot what year this takes place, honestly. And then I remember, I was like, oh, that's got to be a save. Because you already kind of saw, I think the Employee of the Month thing was before that already. And, like, you can just kind of see these identifiers for some save combinations. So, like, I was like, oh, all right, there's a save. I'm exploring. I haven't explored the house as much as I wanted to, because I'm usually coming back to the saves, like, last, in case I found, like, a note, like, I found along the way to make it easier. So, like, I don't know. Yeah, like, it's weird, like, when you think about it, like, why would you abandon your significant other after 30 years in the apocalypse? Like, it's weird to think about like that. I didn't think about it like that at the time, but, like, I also know why the note is, like, the purpose of the note is to help the player progress. But then also, towards the very end, that I wasn't even looking for the notes. I was going to the safe and listening.
And that's the thing. So there was one note where I remember, I don't know if you remember this safe or not. I'm not going to.
I saw that. I did see that you got all the safes, and I did not get that trophy. So I know I missed a couple, because there was a couple parts where I was clenching my butt, and I just wanted to get out.
Yeah, no, I honestly didn't expect that I got them all. Like, I was like, when that trophy popped after I opened a safe, I was like, oh shit, really? Okay, cool. Didn't think that was a thing.
You got a couple more trophies. You got like an upgrade, all your like upgrade like a weapon fully. I think you got like a character development. Well, you got a couple more than I did.
Yeah, there was. I think the one that I missed, that I'm mad that I missed, was discover every location in downtown Seattle.
You know what though? I don't think that's your fault. I think that's one of the weakest parts of the game.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So, and I think that
I felt like I was going out of my way to look in every building in that place.
I stopped. As soon as I got into the bank, I'm not going to reveal like what's in there or anything, but when I got to the bank and kind of got my reward out of that, I was like, I feel like this is the peak of it all, and I'm going to go now, because this is not fun.
Yeah, no, that was, I agree. That was definitely it was just so slow, and otherwise, I think the game is really, really good, and I'll say that it continued to just hit me outside of the game. Like, I'm playing the game, and the things I'm seeing, I'm like drawing parallels in humanity and everything that we're going through in the last 6 months and what we're going to continue to go through in the next 6 months. And it's all so heavy, just day to day. And I don't think I realize it until I'm sitting and playing this game. And just like, I don't know, man, like there's just, I've avoided so much just bullshit being off of Twitter and not, but you still see so much of just the horror and the hate that the real world is bringing right now. And I think that was the part here where like seeing this game, seeing the characters within this game, and seeing the story that was being told, I just kept like literally like just like welling up and just like being overcome with just like, oh shit, didn't expect this at all, because it was just like so human and so real and so raw, and like it just, I don't know, like there's just I can't really articulate it. I really don't know how to articulate it. There's just a moment, many moments where you're like, we're all doing the same thing, right? Like, you might put strawberry jelly on your peanut butter sandwich, and I might put grape, but we're all eating peanut butter and jelly.
I'm fucking putting grape on, bruh.
Well, yeah, because you're not a cop. But it's like, I don't, like, we're all, like, good, bad. Like, no one is inherently good. No one is inherently bad. Like, even the people you think are bad are just afraid, you know? Like, and I'm talking reality here. I'm not talking, like, the game. But the game is the thing that's, like, bringing all that stuff out in me, and I'm, like, just, like, weeping for humanity all throughout this game, which I didn't expect out of this. Like, out of this game, I expected to have a good character story that I followed all the way through. And I'm surprised at how much it left me on the other side, like outside of the game, just kind of like feeling it. Like, and I don't know, it was a heavy experience that I don't know.
Like it's like the first game. Like, I don't know, like you never feel comfortable in the world, and I think that's where The Last of Us, just as a series, just thrives. It's just like challenging some of your morals and just making you feel icky and gross, and just you're just going through shit. Like, it sucks. Like, it's a fun game. I say fun, I guess, in quotes here, because it's really, like, when you think about it, the experience is not fun. Like, everything you go through as Ellie and Joel and like, it just sucks. It just sucks. It sucks for everyone involved, but like, I had an amazing experience playing that game, and it's something I'm going to remember, just like the first one and Left Behind, like, for forever at this point. Yeah. And it's so weird now. Like, I said like 2 weeks ago, like, the shadow of the doubt that was in the back of my head, like, honestly, I can say it's just about gone. Like, and now I'm like sitting here laughing, like, of course I want a second game, but I don't, like, it's really good. It's really good, and I like it's a must play. It's a must play.
Yeah.
Still disappointed there's no fucking multiplayer, but that's another conversation.
It's coming
for another
though,
day.
isn't it coming?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they said I don't know. I was a little salty. I couldn't keep playing.
I know.
I could, but not in the way I wanted to. So yeah,
I look...
9 out of 10. No multiplayer. IGN.
Yep, no, never mind. I have two notes running. I have my notes for the podcast for what we would talk about, and then I have my spoiler cast notes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did I put anything in the spoiler cast that I can talk about here? I'm like, nope, not at all. Not one piece of it is anything I can say here.
Yeah.
So I think how you've talked about the game in the last week, I think introduced a lot of it, and obviously sold me on it. And I also want to thank Metroid Other M for that. But yeah, spoiler cast is imminent.
Yeah.
If you're listening to us talk right now, we honestly have not figured out a day or time to do that, but we will soon, and that will be out there because, I'm biting my tongue on a lot of this stuff.
Yep.
But overall, do it. I think the one thing to remember, I don't know if this is how you were with it, but like, I wanted nothing but to play that game. And like throughout the week, it was like I was doing other things, but when it came time to play that game, I played that game. Like, I don't think any session was less than 4, but most of them were average 5-6 hours.
By the time I would get to it, it was like I knew I had to go somewhere in like 3 hours. Like, I could never, like, the only time I could really do it was that first initial Friday.
Yeah.
And that Saturday as well. That first weekend, really. Like, that was the only time, but that was the part I struggled through getting through the most. So that's the only thing that held me back from just playing it for like 8 hours straight in one day, really.
I think I got through most of that Seattle stuff the first night, because we recorded the podcast. During the break of the podcast, I bought the game, and then I started the game at like 1:30. and I didn't stop until like 10 that day or something like that.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm talking to Nick about it, and he finally got through like the parts I had more issue with gameplay wise. Like I said, gameplay wise.
Yeah.
And like he's getting to some of the spots where like the encounters are just really opening up. Especially that one that kind of introduces like woods and shrubbery and grass for the first time, and like I'm like that encounter right there was like the one that almost completely 180'd everything for me.
Yeah, that was There's a reason
like,
for that.
Gameplay wise.
No, but even that introduces some stuff.
Yeah.
Another level of fear. Any other words on The Last of Us Part 2? I don't.
Nah, I've talked at length about this game now for the last 2 weeks, and like your feelings about like the experience of the game. That's the only thing I had to add. But like I echo everything you just say about beating it. Yeah, like I do have a note and just in my show notes, but I don't even want to say it. Like, nah.
Yeah, we'll save that stuff. It is a very, very good game. All right. There's no good way to transition out of that because I'm like reeling through everything again. But you besides The Last of Us and Motorsport Manager, what else have you gotten into in the last week?
So death is a theme of The Last of Us. Just that world in general. I'll transition and say I played Death Come True. That's the best I can do for us.
All right, I'm going to cut out everything I said in the last 30 seconds and just put that right at the end of The Last of Us.
All right.
Go.
Yeah, so this is the game, the FMV game from the developers of Danganronpa. I played it on Switch, and like it's an easy like sit down in an afternoon, evening, and finish it all in one sitting. Like I can't talk too much about it because it's like FMV, very story heavy, but like don't go into this game expecting a Detroit Become Human or an Until Dawn or a Heavy Rain. It is not. It is like you literally watching a movie and then picking a choice. It is very much like Black Mirror Bandersnatch if you watch that, or I guess experience that in quotes. Even now you can still watch it, but like back when that came out and that was being hyped. And I really liked it. I thought it was fun. That's about all I got for it. Like, if you want to know the plot,
it's choices throughout, right?
Yeah, it's choices, but it's choices.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to get into it because there's a hook to it all.
Yeah.
Kind of like Bandersnatch in a little bit of a way, but there's a hook. There's a hook to the choices.
Is there? Can you give the setup?
That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. So you play as Makoto Karaki, and you. Just kind of the game starts, or the FMV starts with you waking up in a hotel room, and you, like him, don't know what's gotten you there. He's suffering from amnesia, and then like he kind of turns on the news and realizes that he is a known and wanted serial killer. And as he's exploring his hotel room, he finds not a dead woman, but a woman in the tub that's tied up and unconscious. And events happen from there. That's your setup. It's interesting, and I like pacing a little bit slow at the beginning but there's a good hook to it. I think there's a good payoff. I forget how much it is, but I thought it was a fun little afternoon sit playing by myself.
Yeah.
It does.
It's $15.99. I know that on Switch.
It does some clever things too. So like with the controls, at any time you can just hit A on Switch and just pause. And then, like, you can toggle, I think you can either use the bumpers or just flick the left analog stick, like, left or right, and you can scrub, like, backwards and forwards by 10 seconds, like you double tap on, like, YouTube and iOS. So to do some clever things with the playback, I will say don't make the same mistake as I did. When you think you're watching the same cutscene, don't necessarily skip through it.
Got it.
Now, if you like, I don't know, like I feel like sometimes I float it to like my phone because I got a text message and I missed something before I paused it. Like I did use the go back 10 seconds. Oh wait, what did he say? But that was about it. But yeah, no, it was some really good play pause and like scrubbing controls, I thought that I don't think I've ever seen in
a game
like that.
Yeah.
So
are the choices quick? Like, is it like that
No,
kind of thing where you're like,
no, there is only literally one choice, and this comes at like the very end of the game. I feel comfortable saying that. Like at the very end of the game, where like you have 15 seconds to decide. But other than that, it is like take your time and just go. Yeah. And like when they're coming, like I said, no reaction. It very much like you'll see the camera like pan on Makoto. And it will like zoom in on his like brain, some kind of like loading transition, and then it see this like pixelated, obvious like just like screen they took from the footage, and then you're looking around the room to like make your choice.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I gotta check that one out. I forgot. I mean, we talked about it coming out, but then I forgot about it, and yeah, it seems like a fun.
Yeah, and they have like in-game achievements as well for like when you possibly like, choose wrong. So
that's cool.
So
it encourages that replay.
Yeah, and then I think at the end of it all, I think you can go back to scenes and stuff like that. And then like with you getting those in-game achievements, you actually unlock some like concept art. And then, like, they have this thing called DeathTube, which is them filming it behind the scenes. I didn't really look into it, but you unlock that stuff, too, if you want to kind of go further into how they shot it all. So,
yeah, that's neat.
It's really cool. Like I said, I think it was like $13-$14, something.
I think it's $15.99.
Yeah, so, I think it's worth it for a fun little evening. And that's something you easily play with, like, significant other, maybe not daughter or son. It has some more mature themes in it, but you know what I mean. You could play with people if you really want to. If
you're all into that,
yeah, sure, yeah. But no, I check it out. I think it's fun.
Death Come True.
Am I keep going here?
Yeah,
all right. So, I was about to click on Motorsport Manager one night. It was Wednesday. Yeah. It's AEW night. Want to have AEW on the screen. Fyter Fest is going on. Big stuff.
Of course it is. Yeah.
Big stuff. So I was on my computer, and I'm about to click Motorsport Manager because I can very easily just pause a race at any time and watch like what's going on in the match. But then I noticed something. Something was weird in my Steam. In like recently played, when you download something new, it just pops up there despite you never playing it before. And I saw a tile that I know I didn't play in a while. And that tile said Artifact. But it didn't just say Artifact. It said Artifact 2.0. And I lost my shit. I got no email, nothing. It just popped up, and I looked on the sidebar, and there it is, Artifact 2.0, right underneath the Artifact. And I never clicked so fast. I never fucking clicked a game so fast in my life. So what I'm trying to say here is, yes, I have finally gotten access to the closed beta of Artifact 2.0.
As you're telling us, I'm checking my Steam library just to see. So you sent me some initial thoughts via text message. Where are you at now, a few days after, with this game?
So I really only played it that one night. I just like. I play through. They have like a campaign, which is, I guess, their way of like a tutorial. But by the end, it feels like you're actually playing like bots. And there is like a story that goes along. I wasn't really reading it. It's all in like text and stuff, and I didn't feel like going through it. But there's like 10 matches that you go through, and then there's like bonus matches. I think at the end of it that I'm yet to go back to. And that's something I want to find myself going back to. But yeah, I played just like 10 matches against bots. Some of them have different scenarios just because it's a campaign, but. Most of them were pretty much the 3 lanes, towers, and then the actual base itself, the ancient. So yeah, the biggest change. Well, one, this is a closed beta, and the presentation is very much a closed beta. It is a little rough to look at for a good reason. Some of the card art is literally like looks like someone just drew an MS Paint, but that is fine. Because they're actually having a real artist and stuff draw these things. Now, some of the...
Wait, with it being a closed beta, are you allowed to talk about it?
Oh, I should have looked that up. I just assumed.
You keep talking about it. I'll look it up, and if we have to cut all this, I'll cut all this.
Oh, shit. I didn't even think about that. I usually remember to check that shit, too. That's funny.
But also, I feel like they're usually pretty good about.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure in the press release they said if you get access, you can talk.
Okay.
Look up that press release.
I'm pretty sure too, but yeah.
Shit, that's funny. Anyway, so yes, the card art, some of it looks like MS Paint, but they retained some of it from the previous game. And even some of the heroes, I think, from the previous game might be getting new card art as well. So, like I said, presentation-wise, a little rough. But the gameplay, I love the open 3 lanes now, where you can just at any time play on the middle or then go back to the left and then go back to the right. And it's very much...
And do you have a single hand that you're taking to all those? Because wasn't the original you had a hand per board? Or am I misremembering that?
I think you're misremembering.
Okay, all right.
No, you had the constant hand, but you only play on the one board. So, like, you had to... It was like another level of thinking, which isn't terrible for a card game, but, like, you had to remember... the plan was to play this card in the right lane, which is the third board. So make sure you keep enough mana through the left and middle lane for the right lane card. Like I said, which was fine. You just had to plan like your move a little bit and kind of think almost 3 moves ahead for successful wins. But I will say having the open 3 lanes is pretty good. It's a welcome change. One, I just think because you can just play your turns so much faster. I'm not waiting for the animations of the left board, then the middle board, then the right board, and waiting for both people to confirm the left board, the middle board, the right board. So I think just right there, one of the main problems with the first game was the 20 to 30 minute game time. That's being cut down a little bit. Just playing bots, of course, not with human players who are actually like thinking on their end. I feel like the times are more in the 15-minute range, good. Which is a nice welcome. Still not as fast as Hearthstone, and I actually have been playing Hearthstone a little bit on the side here. Hearthstone still has the faster games, but at least it's not like triple the time of a Hearthstone game anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like
because my in-game clock is not that long on Artifact 1.0, but I feel like even as long as it is, it's only a handful of matches, just because of how long they were.
Yeah, no, it's a lot, and especially like when you start tinkering with the deck and construct it, and then like usually it takes about 5 or 6 games to kind of know where your weakness is in the deck, just because of how different games go and different matchups and stuff like that. And like so now all of a sudden in something like Hearthstone, it might take a half an hour for you to figure out, oh, this deck is not good because of this card, or I should add this to help it. In this game, it took 3 hours to figure out if your deck was somewhat decent or not. So that the speed is much welcome. The other change they made, and it's not a big change to the shop itself. You still have the shopping. So after the turn, you each play your cards and they battle. You go back. You go into the shopping menu, the shopping phase. That's the word I'm looking for. And it's very much the same. You have the 3 options. If you buy a new card, will replace it. You can upgrade the shop, or you cannot buy anything at all and take 3 gold or some kind of value of gold. And I think that was the same way in the first one. I don't remember about if you got gold.
It was either the same way in the first one, or it was the same way in Underlords, and that's why that sounds familiar to me. Okay. So one of them is, yeah.
So you go through that, but the difference is, and I looked at a couple screenshots of Artifact 1.0 to kind of confirm, but the items actually have a mana cost now. And every one that I've bought has 1, so it's not like, it's not like you're buying something for 15 gold and there's 3 mana. It might suck up your whole turn. But it's another thing. You just can't throw armor randomly around if you have the gold. So necessarily buying up all the armor stuff and the weapons and things like that is not necessarily the meta anymore. It's more
and you'll probably end up getting cards because this game you're unlocking cards as you go, right?
Yeah, well, in
like
this
play.
So I was going to get there, but the way they have this set up right now is, I think, constructed against bots or live draft against bots. One of them against bots. You have the campaign, and when you play the campaign, they give you a set deck with set heroes already. And then you do live drafts if you're going against humans. I don't know. There is a constructed chat, and it seems like you might be able to play constructed through like through like challenges with other people if you go into like a room or something like that. But I believe you have access to all the cards because of it being a closed beta. Now, I think when it think when it actually opens up, you're gonna, have
then
to earn them or do whatever. But
that might be something where, as you're unlocking newer cards, you might get items and stuff that aren't just 1 mana; they're 3, 5, whatever.
Yeah.
And
So
that adds even more. That's cool.
in the 10 matches or 11 or so, if I lost 1 or 2, I did not see another item card that was more than 1 mana. But then again, like I said, that could change along the way. But I saw some of the more powerful cards. One of the things, like, still the strategy is like putting the heroes, like being careful where you put your heroes and make sure you don't put all your eggs in one basket, because it's tough to get a hero without having them killed out of that lane. That's still like a select number of heroes that can pull that off. And that's where, like, you have to be careful. There was times against a bot where I had like 3 heroes in a lane just going for the tower just because I knew I could get the kill in that tower, but then it left my other stuff vulnerable because the bot then did not put anything in that lane to kill my stuff. So I just had 3 heroes hanging out, and then like it seemed like every turn one of my heroes in the other 2 lanes was dying. So I essentially had a lane with no hero for a turn, because you have to go back to the fountain and you have to wait a whole turn before they're able to come back. So all that strategy from Original Artifact is still here. It's just with you being able to play on 3 lanes, like you could put something in the middle lane, then your opponent puts something in the left lane, but then you have now a direct counter to go back to the left lane, or like while they're still hanging down putting their cards in the left lane, you just go to middle and right. Like it opens up so much more strategy there, in my opinion, instead of more so carefully planning and not so reacting in one point.
So what? Yeah, because the first one you were really like you were just playing 3 different games of Magic.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, but this seems more like you're playing one big wide game of Magic.
It's one game on 3 boards.
It's
like
it's like
when
happening.
You play chess on like 3 different levels at the same time. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's really, I mean, one, I'm excited for you because I know that's been something since they talked about this that you were super stoked about, and but 2, I'm glad that it's good.
Yeah,
that they are making meaningful changes.
You can tell they're very careful of the invites, because I think like only 100 people were on every time I've kind of checked into it to see what's going on. But with the way they have the queue system, I think if you go looking for a match, you can find one. It's just there's not a wide range. Well, there's also no MMR either, so the person you can get on the other end could be someone that's played for 40 hours and knows what they want to draft and deck, and are not necessarily exploring the cards anymore.
Sure.
So yeah. No, but I have Artifact 2.0 in some way.
That is rad. And you were fully allowed to say everything you said.
Dope.
By the way. FAQ says there are no restrictions. There are no restrictions.
Great. Glad I didn't waste all that time.
I would have stopped you way earlier if I read it.
Okay.
What else did you jump into this week?
All right, this is the last one. I had a doozy of the week, and I only played it for 2 hours, but there's a lot of systems going on in this game. I finally got around to starting Disco Elysium.
Oh, yeah, you were really excited about that one.
Yeah, that was a game I wanted to get to last year. I just never found the time to get there. And after being The Last of Us, I was like, all right, what's the next thing? And it's been kind of staring at me on my PC for a while. I was like, you know what? I think it's time. I'm going to jump in and see what's up. And I'm only 2 hours in. But right away, I feel like I really like what this game does. Like with the RPG genre, with the whole talking mechanic.
So it's been long enough. I think people may have forgotten what this one's about. What is this one about?
It's one of those like kind of top-down RPGs where you're kind of clicking and your dude follows you around. But then it's you are playing as a detective who another amnesia game for me. That seems to be a theme this week. He's suffering from amnesia. He kind of wakes up. He doesn't know where he's at, how he got there, whatever. But then you kind of discover that you were sent to solve a murder in this town. And this town is kind of like, it's not in great shape. It's kind of like an outlier city to like So like you along the way, you figure out you're on a murder case because you meet up with another detective, and he kind of becomes your partner. I don't know how long that lasts, or if that's like a core mechanic of the game, but he's from another precinct than you are, and you kind of discover that the two precincts don't want this section of their jurisdiction because it's just such like an outlier, and there's so much trouble in this town and stuff like that. They kind of look at it like the redheaded stepchild almost of their jurisdiction. And so like you kind of learn that like both precincts are using each other or trying to send their worst detectives so that way they can't solve the case, so they don't have jurisdiction over it anymore. They lose it, but in essence that would be a victory for them. So you find that out early on, but that's like kind of playing into it. But like you don't even like early on, the bartender where you wake up at, like you wake up to this destroyed room. Like evidently you threw a shoe at the window and you have no idea why you did that or whatever. So like you go down and like the bartender is like, dude, you owe us like 15, whatever the currency is. And you have like 0 on your name. And he's like, oh shit. Well, what if I can't? He's like, then you got to get out because you broke the window. You have a bar tab. Like you gotta go. And then he's like, oh well, he like, and the way the game does it, you'll have a dialogue box going on the right hand side, and you can see everything. But there are so many skill checks going on, and you see all the skill checks going on during this conversation, and you have a lot of internal monologue almost with yourself, and you're like, and then you kind of like realize like, oh shit, I don't know where I live even. So like there's a lot of that going on. But that's what I want to get to is the RPG and the dialogue system, because I have not experienced combat yet. I don't even know if there is combat in your traditional sense. So the RPG mechanics, you are given, I believe it's 4 main points. So it's very similar to Fallout, where like what's the acronym in Fallout that gives you, it's
VATS.
Yeah, so you have VATS, and like you can put skill points, and it's like your base skill for that, but then there's subcategories inside of it. So in this game you have where do I have it? Intellect, Psych, Physique, and Motorics. And within them are 6 subcategories, and they are very specific. And then within the subcategories, as you level up your person, you can put them into that specific subcategory. So you following along here?
I am, and I'm having flashbacks to that time I tried to play Pillars of Eternity.
I don't think it's as complicated as that.
You've seen that skill tree, right?
I have. I don't think it's as complicated as that.
All right.
I think seeing it will help you understand it a little bit better, or not see them as overwhelming, I should say. But they are very specific. So I'll just go, for instance, intellect. The 6 subcategories are logic, encyclopedia, rhetoric, drama, conceptualization, and visual calculus. And so when you're talking to someone, you're seeing these skill checks, not real time, but like someone will say something and all of a sudden your drama will come in, because drama is like your lie detection almost.
Yeah. So
your drama might kick in and say, it will be like skill check successful, and then drama, like your drama voice in your head almost says like, oh, I think this guy's lying. So then you kind of go down you have like a new dialogue option almost, and not like, it's not like Fallout or even the Outer Worlds, where it seemed like very obvious that was a new choice because you have that skill check. It just kind of like flows naturally into the conversation.
That's cool.
So
that way every playthrough really is like organic and different, and yeah.
So you can do pre-made builds. I did a custom one, and I went very high on intellect and psych, and not so much on my physique and motorics. So I'm like, these conversations that I'm having, and it is a lot to read. Like, be prepared to read. There's not a lot of voice acting, especially once you start getting involved in these conversations. Like, I just understand why this game would probably be 100 gigs if they had to voice act all this shit. So just be prepared to read when you play this, or if you want to play it. But I just really like the skill checks that you're seeing, and like, you're trying to solve a case of a murder. So you go to the body, and like you're examining, and like I said, you're talking to this detective that you're sharing with, but also like at the same time you're having these internal monologues with yourself. And so like, you might see something on the body, and if your visual calculus skill is high enough, you might see something that if it was average, you wouldn't be able to see. So like once again, it's all these just systems are constantly running in the background for you. And then like with that, like you're going to get to certain decisions where it's a legitimate dice roll, and depending on your skill points in that area, like it might be an 80% success rate or a 3% success rate. And the cool thing is like you don't see the dice being rolled, but you're rolling 2 6-sided dice, and there's always a snake eyes is a fail, and 2 6s is always a success, no matter what your skill is. So there's always a small chance you could do the thing, but it's a huge risk because it's like 97% no to 3% yes. But then there's always the freaking XCOM. There's a 97 success rate, but you could always roll snake eyes and fail,
and
right?
Just fail. So 2 6s is not a critical?
I mean, it might be.
I'm throwing back to my HeroClix days.
This might be in this sense. Maybe that's where it's coming from. I never did.
You always do +1 damage and knockback when you roll 2 6s, though. That's just classic HeroClix law.
So maybe that's where it's coming from. I don't know. But yeah, it's really good. I just like just the conversation thing, and then you do have 2 health bars. So you have like a physical health bar and then your morale health bar. And like when you don't succeed in a skill check and you just feel like bad, like you just feel like, oh shit, I screwed that up. Like you just see your morale point just take a hit. And it's like, oh fuck. I'm just going to kill myself because my morale's going to get so low if I keep going down this path.
Are there things you can do to change morale? Like outside of success, like can you go get a Cliff Bar at the 7-Eleven? Like what does that look like?
I believe there are items to improve that, or different like med kits or whatever. But then there's also skill points in like your other systems where you can increase those bars. So those hits don't seem. It's very much like you have 5 points in health and like you'll lose 1 if something happens. Is one of those types of things. So increasing those bars essentially is going to be a big thing you can do. So like I started, because my physique was so low, I started at 2 health points, but then I did something. I raised, I think it was endurance, and it got me to 4. And I was like, all right, I feel a little bit better if I get into a weird thing. But like I said, I don't know what combat looks like, and combat literally just might be like these skill checks, just with my physique instead of my rhetoric. So I don't know. I know there was one part early on where like you were talking to this like big, jacked up Russian dude who is very much guarding something that you need to get to, and you're trying to outsmart him. But like there is an option where you could try to overtake him, but with my physique being so low, there's no way. So I'd even try.
Yeah, no.
So there's a lot of that going on, and then like there's one last mechanic that I think is really clever. There are things that you're going to learn. So like with that, the perfect example is with that Russian dude. He's very like white nationalist, and he's like going through all the races like in the area around you. So you can like question him and try to like almost like emphasize like emphasize with him a little bit, and that will like convince him, like trick him into letting you through. So there is this system, there's this thought system, and what it is, like you might get an idea in your head, but you don't know the solution to, or you haven't thought about it long enough. So you go to this sub menu and you can put that thought into like a little brain bubble, and as time goes along in the game, you kind of deduce the solution to it, and that will give you a buff or some kind of thing to let you progress, or some kind of advantage maybe in a conversation or in tricking someone. So he gave you end up getting like a thought about like white supremacy or like whatever that race supremacy was. And so you put it in your head and like you go and move on to like the next task or do whatever. And it's just running in the background as the day goes along. And then finally like it'll go through, and then you'll have this ability now to possibly talk. I haven't gone back to talk to him since I got like the thought solved. But now I'm going to be able to go back to him and maybe get past them because I've now like emphasized or empathized with him enough with this or whatever. And like there's other things that are popping up. So like you might get a buff in drama if you deduce some kind of like lie thought or something like that. So and it could like do a buff in one area and like a negative or a debuff in another, or like a nerf. Sorry, a nerf. That's the word I'm looking for. In another area, but you only have so many of these slots, and like you would have to forget one to put another one in. And I think I'm pretty sure if you forget, you don't have to figure out. You don't have to rethink it again. I think you can just kind of equip it or de-equipped it whenever you need to, but I think that adds a layer to something that's more traditional. So
that was something in Tokyo Mirage Sessions, that you would unlock skills by leveling up your weapons, and you'd unlock the skill once your weapon hit a new level. But when you'd apply it, you had to remove one, and you were forgetting it forever. So if you wanted to learn it again, you had to go back and get that weapon and go through the tree again. But I don't even know if you... I don't know. But so that's interesting. You can just swap them in and out. I think that's probably...
You see the list. Like, you actually see the list, and a lot of them are just grayed out because I guess you haven't gotten to that point in the story or whatever yet. But, like, they're the ones that I had to forget one to make room for that, like, white supremacy one. And it's still there, and I'm pretty sure I can equip it. And I haven't tried to yet, so I don't know if I have to let it go, like, let the countdown timer go again, or if I can just kind of swap it in and out. But I also found, like, some of them, like, get locked in. Like, I couldn't forget something. I don't know if I was just in the moment. I don't know why I couldn't forget it quite yet. There was not a lot of feedback for me there, but there might be something where, like, it sticks permanently. I don't know. So it's just with me being so early. But yeah, and this game looks unique. That's the last part I wanted to put out. Like, it uses this like watercolor style, and it's very gray, and that's just, I think, because like the town just sucks. Like there's nothing good going around, so they use these very like gray tones in their watercolor and things like that. But I really like the art style. I think it stands out on that. Don't ask me why this game is named Disco Elysium. I think that was one of like the things that this was talked about when this came out late last year. I still don't know. Like, I know my dude has said like, oh, I got these disco pants on, but he's not saying disco. I think it's like a brand, so I don't know why it's named. I'm as clueless about Disco Elysium's name as I am of what a Shenmue is.
I wonder which you'll learn first.
That's the question we all.
Yeah, I think I know the answer to that one.
Hell, I might go back to Shenmue.
It won't be Shenmue.
Fucking Shenmue, man. But yeah, that's all I got. So like, some things I haven't experienced yet that I might talk about a little bit more next week when I play a little bit more, because I'm hooked. I'm not totally on the hook, but I'm intrigued. I'm definitely coming back to it this week. There's a day-night cycle to it, and they've seemed to stress that like the town goes to sleep at night, and like your detective partner might go to sleep at night. So like you could do a little bit more like illegal activity type of things with your character. Like he won't know.
Simon's Quest taught us all good games have day-night cycles, so this is exciting.
So like there's I haven't gotten to night yet in my first day, so I'm like, I kind of want to see what that's like and how that might shift the way that game plays at night.
Yeah, because you probably get weirder, like the more insidious stuff you do is going to feed different parts of your skill tree. That's cool. That's a neat.
Then like where the plot's going as well, like there's very much like a worker strike going on, like in the northern part of the town, but then there's murder, and we might, the initial thought is like, oh, well, this murder has something to do with the strike, but I just want to see where the plot takes me, and if it goes somewhere else. Like there was this kid that was throwing rocks at the body because, of course, they called in the body like 3 days after it was hung on a tree. So there's these punk ass kids throwing rocks at the body, and like you start talking to them and like, you're a pig. We're not telling you shit. And, like, so you kind of like manipulate and talk your way into getting that kid to align with you, and you find out like his father sells cocaine, and him and his father are fighting. So like if you want to go and try to steal the cocaine for the kid. So it's like you can take it and sell it. You can take it and use it because drug usage, just like in Fallout, it gives you buffs and your perks. Or like you could turn it into the authority, like you turn it in as like evidence or whatever, and maybe lock up the dad and the kid. So like I haven't explored that path yet, but I just want to see what other weird things this game gets me into.
Yeah, it seemed like that was the takeaway I heard from a lot of people. It's just the variety that every game or every session can have with it.
And then finally, combat. I don't know if there is combat or what that looks like. So I feel like with a couple hours, I will at least know if there is a combat system at all or how that is. So
or if it's just talking, yeah.
Yeah, but I really like this. It's a lot of reading, so you have to be like mentally prepared for that. But if you're ready to go and read, like I'm digging what I've played so far.
That's cool. Yeah,
it kind of makes me wish I would have got to it last year. I'm at that moment right now, like maybe I should have come around to this last year because it's definitely unique enough. It's an RPG at its heart, but it does things differently than what I played before, at least. But yeah, no, that was my hell of a week. Sorry.
Speaking of doing things differently, no apology necessary. I played Smash Brothers with an arms fighter. Min Min was released last Monday, and I jumped in. I've played through Min Min's classic mode. Is that what they call it? And then I've just done some random matches here and there. I've done a lot of the like Spirit Challenge stuff. And Min Min is a lot of fun and changes two things for me. Changes how you approach Smash Brothers, but also changes what I want in an ARMS sequel.
Oh boy.
With this, you are on a 2D plane and you're working with a large horizontal throw, right? So it's Min Min is just, by the nature of the character design, like you are punching and your punches go across the screen. But with Min Min, she also, and this is in original ARMS as well, uses her legs. So you have the opportunity for some close combat, but you're really going to do your most damage when you're using her arms. You're swapping the arms, you're trying different abilities out and things like that. That is
arms,
what,
like the farther you throw your punch, the more damage it is. Okay.
Yeah, so there's that kind of stuff. Like it's all incorporated into this, and it makes for really interesting fights. There's some weird matchups, like you think about fighting someone like Little Mac, where he needs to be super close, and Min Min suffers when up close. So hers is all about, if someone does get close, use your kicks to push them away, and then get back and start punching. The thing I noticed in the classic mode in particular was you're fighting... at one point you fight another Min Min, but they also did like the ARMS fighters, or the Mii fighter with the ARMS costumes and stuff like that. And I'm just sitting there and I'm looking at it, and I think that ARMS is super unique, that behind the back, third person approach with the long arms, like going forward through the screen. I think it's super unique, and I would not want to see a sequel where that is not in there. But I kind of also want to see a 2D mode, because there's something about the verticality that happens. It's not high, like you're not jumping crazy high, but there is a piece of that where like you're each kind of attacking at different levels. It's putting arms on a 2D plane is something I hadn't thought of. Like when it first came out, I remember thinking like, man, why didn't they just do a side, 2D fighter? And then you play it and you're like, okay, well, this is why. But now seeing how Min Min can play in a 2D space, I'm like, man, I'm curious to see what they would do or could do in that.
Is that
world.
when they finally call the game legs, because verticality becomes a thing, and instead of throwing punches, you just kick?
It'd be arms plus legs.
That's the name of the game, arms plus legs.
Arms plus legs. It's the plus sign, though, to let you know that you're getting more than just arms.
And then that would be one hell of a... When they bring that character to Smash, it's going to be Smash cross arms plus legs.
Exactly, yeah, that's... but that, yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say about Min Min. I think that, again, the development team there has done a great job of integrating another franchise into this seemingly endless world, right? Like Smash Ultimate is just so huge when you think about it conceptually, how many video game franchises are on display constantly. And this is no different. And I think she plays really, really well. She's a lot of fun to play as. And again, that's my big takeaway is like, I'm having fun playing as her in here, but it also opened up my mind to what I want in more ARMS in the future.
Yeah,
that's it.
I was going to say, Min Min sounds interesting for me because it sounds like, so Incineroar, I'm pointing to my amiibo that's right there.
Mm-hmm.
Very much grounded. Very much, you're not going to go vertical with him. But then I have the other amiibo, Samus, right there. And she is like a mixture of light and heavy, but she's best when she's keeping her distance and can shoot. So, I don't know, like in my limited exposure to Smash, it feels like almost like a unique combination that I would love to try out, honestly.
Yeah, I think she's cool. Yeah, you should. She's fun. She's not as fast as I expected her to be, but I'm not mad at that.
Are we talking like Snake fast, like heavy, like Snake?
I kind of expected her to move more like Zero Suit Samus, and she moves more like Samus.
Oh, okay, all right.
I don't know why I had it in my head that she'd be so quick. I think because ARMS itself is so fast paced, and the way you're moving around that world feels fast, and a lot of the like shifts when you like, I'm thinking motion controls, but when you do the quick like dodge left in ARMS, you do this like sharp pivot. So I don't know, maybe in my head I just translated that wrong, but she still feels good. Through and through, like that's, I don't know if she's quite new main, but she's definitely the one out of the 6 DLC characters we've had so far that I feel like I enjoy playing the most.
Okay. It's one of those, when we're doing randoms at like a party or whatever, like if you land on Min Min, you're going to feel good about it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Right.
I feel like the other characters that have come in, I have appreciated all of them and thought they were all cool in their own way, but they are, the DLC drops the day it, and this happened with Min Min as well. The day it drops, I'm like, cool, day one, let's go, let's do this, and I play through whatever I can with them. I try out their stuff. I try the different mechanics. The difference is Min Min's the one that I've gone back to days after several times. Where those other ones, it might happen occasionally, but like I can't tell you last time I played as Banjo or Terry or it just doesn't happen.
I get that.
And in terms of games we played this week, that is kind of it for me. I thought I was going to jump into some Arkham Origins. I was like, maybe. But also maybe not. So I don't know.
I see you're on a Batman kick over here. I mean, you're always on a
Batman
kick.
That's kind of what was pushing me. I was like, I've been reading a bunch of comics lately, and then obviously I watched the movies yesterday because I was thinking about playing Arkham Origins, and then after The Last of Us, I'm like, not that I need a break, but I'm like, maybe I need a break. Maybe I just need to step back a little bit and just kind of
not
like
interact, just watch.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know, but that's been in my head throughout the week. Oh, and then I didn't play it, but Sin O Alice came out in America finally. That's the mobile game from Yoko Taro, creator of Nier, and it's been out in Japan for I think 2, maybe 3 years. No, not 3, 2 years. And it just got localized July 1st. So it is out. I did the like preload thing from the App Store and completely forgot to play it. So that tells you everything about that. But yeah.
Cool.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got some news from the week, some topics out of that to talk about. And that's it. We'll be right back. Matt, have you ever heard of a video game called Unreal Tournament?
Yes. There was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
The video game folks behind Unreal Tournament in the time since have made a game called Fortnite.
Yes, I'm familiar.
If you recall, the thing that struck global recognition is not actually what Epic had decided to make in the beginning. Originally, Fortnite was meant to be
the 5 years it was in development.
Yeah, the 5 years was, yeah. Oh, wait, of the Battle Royale or of the other one?
No, this.
Yeah, this.
Yeah, this is the thing
so
that get previewed like time and time again.
Yes, Fortnite saved the world. was the original experience, and it was more
tower defense,
base building kind of stuff like that. That, funnily enough, seemed like it was created as a reaction to genres that were popular at the time, and then by the time it came out, they had to pivot again. And it was the right money move. And Fortnite's interesting because it's obviously like it's come back around on itself, where we make fun of it or whatever, but it did change things forever in so many different ways. I mean, the money that they pulled in from that alone allowed Epic to create its own store and to chase after that 30% lock on why can't I think of the cut that goes to the store people? I don't know what they call that, but that's challenged not just video games, but it's now bleeding in where people are pushing back at other companies with other storefronts to challenge that 30% cut
with Steam.
Yeah, but I mean, even outside of video games, like, it's being questioned about app stores and things like that. And Fortnite has changed things. And as it's changed things, seemingly the Save the World campaign had just been forgotten about, or it's not talked about as much. But now
you can pay for Fortnite. Did you know that without buying V-Bucks?
Yes. And now, 3 years after the game is leaving early access, Fortnite Save the World will remain a premium experience rather than going free to play. They're also going to remove the early access label from Battle Royale and creative game modes. So it's out. It's a brand new 2020 release. Fortnite.
Well, hopefully in stores they can take beta off of the box now, because I remember that was an issue, years ago.
I feel like it said alpha too on some of the ones. Like I think that first wave of PS4 said,
or did it just say early access?
Maybe it's early access. Maybe the A is what's throwing me off here. But yeah, it seems like they're adding things in. So there's now Ventures, which are a new season-long excursion. That are these taking place in Save the World, right? These aren't.
I guess, yeah, I would imagine so.
They're adding more seasonal stuff to Save the World, I guess, to make it more in line with
probably how the replayability.
Yeah, and the Battle Royale stuff. So, yeah, do you have any interest in ever returning to this?
Returning? I never wanted to play Save the World at all.
I mean Fortnite general. Like, what's the barometer at for you with this?
If they did something that was like, I'm not ruling it out.
I have another question, but I'll also comment. I remember they did a thing for Batman's 80th anniversary where you could get Batman and Catwoman skins, and I was like, well, I guess I'm playing Fortnite now. And even that didn't do it. I was like, like I remember I was like about to, and then I was like, no, what am I doing? My other question is, do you think that there is or maybe significance, not the right word, at least on the Epic side, do you think there's been a noticeable change in the player count for Battle Royale that makes them want to push Save the World? Or is this just, hey, we promised to make a thing, so we're going to make that thing?
I think this is getting that part of development off of that part of development. Wiping their hands clean. I'm sure, this is the thing, I'm sure their numbers have dipped enough, but I'm sure it's not anything alarming. It's something, if they were smart, could see coming with all the competition. I mean, news story down the road, but we have another one entering the market here at some point.
This one actually excites me. So Ubisoft announced a free-to-play Battle Royale first-person shooter, Hyperscape, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And it's a free-to-play Battle Royale worth 100 contenders, first-person shooter. I mean, you've heard all this stuff before. This is nothing new. 3-player squads and solos. There's so you have hacks, you have abilities that change the way that you loot the world, and also how you attack throughout the world. It's also like super cyberpunky kind of thing. Whatever.
His art style reminds me a little bit of like Overwatch, where it's like that kind of like cell shading a little bit. I was trying to do some homework before the podcast, but when I got back from being out on the boat yesterday, celebrating the 4th, breaking kayfabe, I was extremely tired, but I turned on Twitch and I saw that some streamers were playing it. I was trying to watch a match, but I just fell asleep. Or like I was trying to watch a couple matches so I could get the gist of like what a game looks like or what is going on. And I fell asleep. But like it's very vertical from what I saw. It doesn't seem like fall damage is an issue in this. So like I think it allows that verticality.
That's how it is in Apex, and I always appreciated it for that.
The thing that like what's their twist on it? I know they talked about in a news release with like it's someone so you can carry something for 30 seconds. Or like there's another way of winning besides just being the last one. But like I didn't watch enough to see like what is their thing. Because I think Warzone's is the gulag and the armor system. I think that's the thing that stands out the most, in my opinion. Yeah. And that's the thing I like about that the most. But when Hyperscape comes, of course, I'll try it. It's another one of those free-to-play boys. Maybe one of two things would happen. One, it would be small enough for me to install on my 2 terabyte hard drive at the same time as Warzone. Or two, Warzone is going to inflate so much before Hyperscape comes out that I can't install on my 2 terabyte.
I could see the latter being the reality there. Yeah. I was excited about this because I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I'm about to install, what is it, Uplay?
Yeah.
I'm about to drop that on my computer so I can play some Trackmania. And I was like, all right, well, if I'm already going to have Uplay on there, I might as well grab this. But I can't, because in order to play this game right now, you need to link your Ubisoft account to a Twitch account and then go watch Twitch streamers play for a chance to maybe you get an act. I was like, no.
It's the same way that Valorant did it.
That sucks.
Yeah, so actually I wonder, because I think I have a Uplay. I think I have it linked to my Twitch.
Look, if you're going to watch it, but it sucks for somebody who I don't have any interest in watching Twitch streamers play anything ever. So I'll play this game.
What if I gave you a couple channels that aren't like your fucking dude, that aren't that fucking guy?
I don't even want to watch that.
All right. Fair.
I'm not, that's not saying that I don't watch people play video games. It's not that. It's just like.
It has that stigma to it. I know.
It's not even the stigma. It's like, I don't have the time to invest in other personalities or whatever. Like, you know.
Fair.
I will go out of my realm sometimes, you know what I mean? But like, generally speaking.
Usually I have it on as a background thing. But that's just because I'm in a room where I can be on the PC or use the PC as I got essentially 2 different ways of entertainment at the same time. Except for Wednesday nights when AEW is on.
Then yeah.
And I find out Artifact 2.0 is out.
That's a good hit. That's a good hit this week. That didn't make my week. Sorry, I don't want to overstate. But seeing that text come through, I was like genuinely excited for you. Speaking of genuine excitement, PlayStation VR is being added to Dreams come July 22nd. Now you can sculpt and play VR creations made by Dreams users across the world. I feel like this was inevitable. Had they talked about this before?
I don't know. I didn't.
Or did we just assume it was going to happen?
I think we assumed. I'm just happy it happened before PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
So then when it goes... I think one of the things that forces Sony to do is talk about VR when they talk more about PlayStation 5, because there's no way they release this game this year and it doesn't like port over, like of course with backwards compatibility, but I think it gets upgraded to PlayStation 5 as well.
Yeah.
I bet you that's what Media Molecule is working on right now, is like, you know, besides the VR thing, it's getting it to PlayStation 5 natively on that console.
Yeah. So during a recent financial Q&A, Nintendo has finally I'm sorry. I'm reading Kotaku.
Oh, I
This is
forgot.
not my
Does
words.
that entice you to get a VR now that you know there's all kinds of user-created content?
No.
Okay.
The only thing that ever enticed me about VR was like, I think that's cool. Yes, but I told you before, man. Like, Dreams is a language I don't have time to learn at all.
I think if I had a VR, I would buy Dreams just to have different VR things, and like, who knows what you're able to create? Because we've seen some weird shit come out of Dreams. I feel like I think it's a good playground to see what a VR can do, and just hope that some with a little bit more of a budget or a natural engine. Not to discredit the Dreams engine, but someone with some game development history makes something along the lines that's unique.
Yeah, no, and I think that's I guess if I had one, I would. Yes, I think I would get it almost the same way that like people would recommend getting like the Playroom stuff with a VR headset, so you get like a tech demo, so to speak. I feel like there could be and are some really neat experiences in VR, but this doesn't sell me on VR. The thing that sells me on VR is stuff like Resident Evil 7. The problem is those headsets have not dropped to a price where it's cheap enough that I
bundling
will
it.
just
That's
kind
the
of
thing. It stays at the same price, but they just bundle more and more with it. I feel like.
And I don't need any of this stuff. Like, I already have the camera. I bought that camera back when, like, people were stabbing each other in Best Buy parking lots for that camera. I got one. And I used it, like, 3 times. Like, once to test the voice command stuff that sucked, that they tried to pretend was Kinect. And then another time when we streamed, like, Injustice or something, I put my face in the corner. Like, that's it. Those are the times that I use the camera. Otherwise, it's been in a box in the corner forever. So I already have that. The Move wands. Your boy was all in on Move. I got Move. I have a PlayStation Move navigation controller sealed with an $8 sticker on it from Walmart that I bought on clearance a decade ago. Just waiting to be unpacked. So yeah, I mean, I don't need any of the crap they bundle in with that. And that's the thing where I'm at. It's like, if I could get the headset for $100, just give me the headset, whatever. I'd be fine with that. I would spend that money today. Like, if you told me right now, and I'm not talking like refurbished or, hey, if you order through BestBuy.com, you get like, no. I mean, brand new, the headset from Sony, $100. I would do it. The problem is we're so close to PS5 and whatever the Gen 2 of the PSVR headset is. I don't feel comfortable investing more than $100 on this stuff, and like I can't even tell you what is the price. Either way, right?
Isn't
Like
the
the
around
price is too
$299
much.
usually.
Yeah, it's too much. Which when I say it's too much, the value is good. Yes, it's the.
It's just when
I don't need
like $150 of that you already own.
Exactly.
That's
I don't
the
need
part
to spend that
sucks.
money. $350 is what's on
okay.
Best Buy right now. And if I want a refurbished, just the headset, it's $200, which is too much.
And it's also been
Too
on
many
someone's
hundreds.
forehead and shit. Nah, no, not in these times.
Yeah, no, yeah, God, especially, right? Anyway, Dreams.
You
From
can
Kotaku,
dream that the price drops.
Man, you tell me that it does. I'm there. It was a recent financial Q&A where Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa has apologized for Joy-Con, specifically saying, regarding the Joy-Con, we apologize for any trouble caused to our customers. We are continuing to aim to improve our products, but as the Joy-Con is the subject of a class action lawsuit in the United States, and this is still a pending issue, we would like to refrain from responding about any specific actions.
It's just bad
I don't know.
because I
Bad
think the
translation.
original thing wasn't. This came from the Japanese.
So that's the interesting thing. Your boy looked at this. I believe this is the same Q&A that you can also find in English. However, this question is not in the English version.
Huh.
I might be wrong about that.
Huh.
But yeah. Anyway, this is the first official kind of statement about any of that stuff. Obviously, there is a class action lawsuit, so this stuff got pretty bad. And like, I remember when people first started talking about it at the beginning days of the Switch, it was also being talked about in the same vein as the dock scratching the screen. And then you just kind of see that like it was scattered reports. But the Joy-Con thing lasted a bit. And it was something that like I've definitely noticed on mine. Depending on how I'm sitting or whatever. And honestly, like Ring Fit pisses me off sometimes because I'll be doing something with Ring Fit and it just doesn't, the ring doesn't even register. And that's the right Joy-Con. Let alone the, like, there was one day this week I was doing just jogging exercises in Ring Fit and I was like working way harder than I needed to because the leg strap thing, it just like was not registering and my watch wasn't picking up that I was running. And it was like, I probably burned way more calories. Yeah, just but this even came up with the Switch Lite because people complained about Joy-Con. I mean, there's no Joy-Con there, but left stick drift in the Joy-Con Lite. So whatever was made or parts used to do something about the analog stick messed it up there. And like, I remember noticing it on Animal Crossing. Like if I were using Joy-Con, not the Switch Pro controller, but Joy-Con specifically. And like fishing, I would miss the fishing beats. You know what I mean? Like that's not.
My gray left Joy-Con, I noticed it playing Mario Tennis Aces whenever I played that handheld.
Yeah. And handheld too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
Yeah, because I wouldn't play with his Joy-Cons otherwise. I'm Pro Controller and App-Boy.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that one. I'm still excited for 2021 and a potential Switch 2 or Pro or Advance, if you will.
Yeah, Advance. Never forget one's predictions.
A report from Video Games Chronicle, or I don't think it's specifically from, we're reading this from Video Games Chronicle, but this is, according to information shared by journalist Jeff Grubb, corroborated by Video Games Chronicle's own sources. State that the July Xbox Series X first-party showcase will happen specifically July 23rd, but non-specifically sometime during the week of July 20th. Of course, this is where we know we will see the first gameplay of Halo Infinite, finally, which I think I'm about ready. We got to go back to Reach and then 5 as a fire team here, but I've been feeling that itch a little bit.
I just gotta get through July here, and I think I'd be ready for that. I got a date with Ghost
of Tsushima.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I had no interest in that game, and now after beating The Last of Us and being on the other side of it, I'm like, maybe I get that game. I don't know.
I'm ready for Ghost. I think I had the same thing, but that. The PlayStation, the thing that focused on that.
The thing that said it's an open world game where you follow the wind?
Yeah, I wasn't thrilled about that, but I like the day-night, like the type of samurai you are. I kind of like that mechanic. Yeah. So, we'll see. I think I'm going to get it. And also, that's the day my lease starts. And I have there's a strategy where I'm going to be in there by myself for like 3 days, getting some shit together. But between getting some shit together, I think there's going to be a lot of time for some Ghost of Tsushima.
You do you. What I want to know, that is one where I would want to know how long it is. Because if it's like 60 hours... Yeah.
I'm going to play it until I don't want to play it anymore. I think that's just my mindset going into it. But
that's
hell,
fair.
if I'm hooked and it takes me 50 hours to beat it, but I was hooked the whole way, I think I'm okay with that. The well's drying up here until fall. I think this is like the last thing before fall.
I'm gonna put a pin in a couple of my thoughts right now because we have a story later on that I want to come back to. The value of the dollar.
Nice.
We'll get there in a minute, but yeah,
Xbox and Halo Infinite.
In terms of this here event, a lot of speculation that we might see the game from the new studio, The Initiative, which is it's their first project. It's the studio they created in LA. I believe I'd have to double check. So I screwed up this year. I never put together, after our predictions episode, I never put together our article of that. So I don't have a good reference for that. But I do believe, I'm looking at my predictions. Now, maybe I didn't make a Perfect Dark prediction.
Well, you did. I'm pretty sure you did.
I feel like I always make a Perfect Dark prediction, but that seems to be the rumor coming out of The Initiative, is that they are working on a Perfect Dark reboot. And the Video Games Chronicle story has some quotes from Phil Spencer kind of suggesting as much, or hinting at it. It's speculation, of course, but it could be. This is also in tandem with another story that dropped this week, from GameSpot, that placeholder Twitter accounts for Fable and Perfect Dark Game have been, they're, I think, private accounts, but they're there. And after the Perfect Dark account was created by a fan, Xbox veteran Ken Lobb, who you might know as the inspiration for the weapon Klobb in GoldenEye, followed the account, making people think that it might be a genuine account, but it's only a fan account. The owner said that they would give it up to Microsoft if asked, but it doesn't appear to have happened yet. And the Fable account, however, was seemingly created by Microsoft as a measure of brand protection. Aaron Greenberg, he's the Xbox marketing director. He responded to some of the chatter on Twitter, saying, "I know everyone is hungry for news, but sorry to get your hopes up. These accounts have been inactive for years. It's standard practice to secure social handles for our IP." Which, he doesn't say, yeah, these accounts are, we're excited to show you the future of these things. Stay tuned to these accounts. But he also doesn't say, we're not making those games. I mean, because look, man, yes, these accounts have been inactive for years. It's standard practice to secure social handles, blah, 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 blah. You're telling me that all those rumors, all that stuff about Fable coming out of Playground is not real? That stuff seems like as real as that Batman Arkham game from WB Montreal at this point.
Yeah, and Sony came out, and Sony put up some sequels and some franchises that we know, as well as some other ones. Bugsnax keeps getting talked about. I don't know what it is about that game.
It's cute.
It's Animal Crossing. It's like bugs and shit. Once again, that doesn't seem like my thing. But Xbox has these properties. They gotta come out swinging. I think their shtick has always been that Xbox is fine, but you have Gears and Halo, right? Sony, you can point, and from God of War, now Horizon, Uncharted, the last, you can just kind of keep naming off things. You can even go back before then, Twisted Metal, all those things. They got all those new studios. They've had some time to cook now. It's what do you got? And if they can bring up some of those recognizable names like Fable, like Perfect Dark that they have, they even have Conquer, bring it on.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential there, and there's stuff that's, I'm sure I'm not thinking deeply enough, but there's a lot of, legacy with Xbox. Xbox is 20 years old at this point. So there's stuff for sure. And yes, it's not as rich or deep as the Sony stuff is, but they're getting there. And yeah, regardless, I'm curious to see. I hope this thing does. I mean, we know it's happening July, so it's happening this month. I'm sure we'll hear more about it soonish, but I'm excited. I'm a little more cautious this time around, though. It's not because of their third-party showing, because I know that one wasn't great, but that didn't shake my faith in the first-party stuff at all. The part where I'm a little deflated is twofold. ironically enough, I was 6 months ago more excited about the Series X because of the play anywhere mentality that Xbox has had. But the closer we get to it, the more I'm like, oh, I'm just going to keep my Xbox One S until I don't need it anymore. And then especially after seeing the PlayStation 5 stuff, where I was like, okay, well, if I got to buy one, it seems like that's probably the one to buy because I can't play that stuff anywhere else. Versus this, where I can play this on my PC or on my Xbox One S. So that happened. And then honestly, the Mixer thing last week really shook me a little bit. Not because I was some super fan of Mixer, but the Facebook game, man, that's just...
You can't get Hyperscape through watching Mixer. I get it.
It's exactly, yeah, and I want my Hyperscape and I want my Mixer. No, but like depending on how that Facebook gaming stuff happens, as far as integration into the Xbox platform, that might change my feelings. All the goodwill that they've done to build Xbox back up could very easily just like totally bottom out for me if there's a big old Facebook gaming tab on that thing.
I don't think you have a Facebook gaming tab. I think like you're gonna have the ability to like link your Xbox Live account to Facebook and like that. I think that's it. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried. I mean, unless they show the dashboard or whatever their UI looks like and it has Facebook game, but like I don't think it's going to be there. I'm going to be shocked.
I don't think it's going to be that bad. Yeah, no, I would be too. It's just like hearing that was just like icky. And that's not even like considering the current state of what's going on with Facebook and all of these brands backing out of like ads being on Facebook and stuff. Because I know that all that stuff's going, but it's not even that. This is me just no. On the other side of the fence, Sony has weighed a bid for the Hong Kong listed gaming firm Liu. I bet you if I click on this article, I can't get any of it anymore because I've reached my limit for Bloomberg this month. But currently, Liu Technologies Holdings Limited, Sony is apparently weighing a bid for, and while we don't know. I don't know a ton about this company, but they do own Warframe, in particular. What's the other one they have?
Dirty Bomb was the other one.
Which I have no idea what that is.
I don't know what it is, but then they're also. I actually do have one. I have one more after this viewing of Bloomberg, so I have the article.
Okay. Yeah. No, I do too.
No, there's claims that they're also working with Amazon to co-produce a video game based on Lord of the Rings. So they have that going on as well, it seems. But yeah, no, Warframe, like it'd be. I wonder if they'll try to use Warframe like Minecraft and like keeping all the platforms and stay on Xbox Live that way and get some money out of them, or if they pull it to a PlayStation exclusive, which I think that's just going to piss off more people than that's going to get you like money.
Well, but you got to look at it this way. It comes down to numbers, right? Like that game is on every platform, but if you look at the books, right? Like where does it sell them? Are people buying their premium currency most on PlayStation? Okay, then it makes sense to pull it in as a PlayStation exclusive with PC support as well or whatever. Because I feel like PlayStation would support PC and
they have. I mean, going back to Rocket League, they went cross-platform at the start with PC. Despite it being a PlayStation Plus exclusive too.
Right, so. Right. But so that's going to be a money game. Is it worth it to keep supporting the Switch version? Is it worth it to keep supporting the Xbox version?
It'd be weird. It's not like they're in development and hope to plan like the launch next year on those different. I think they're there already. That would be the weird part. And I don't know if you yank it. Has
Digital Extremes already said next gen support? They have. Yeah, I remember they did. Yeah. So we already know it's confirmed for Series X. It'd be weird for them to pull it after that. If this deal goes through and if that all happens, I feel like changes to those types of things to games that are already up and running and acquired and whatever. I feel like changes like that don't happen they settle the deal on Tuesday, so Wednesday it gets pulled off Xbox. I don't think it's that. It's more long term than that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. It's the first kind of big Sony acquisition we've heard about. I mean, obviously Insomniac happened last year.
I think
but
right after Spider-Man.
Prior to that, we just heard about Sony closing its studios that it was buying. So,
or creating for VR.
Yeah, or converting to a VR studio and then closing. So Crysis Remastered delayed. A trailer got out there and some screenshots, and
yeah, people got mad.
I guess
people got mad, and then
a shocking turn of events. What are people mad at?
The graphical fidelity looks like in 2011, and they didn't upscale it or bring it up enough for people.
I got 3 things here. Number 1, the game was made in 2007. Number 2, who said that? Who is an expert on this shit? Did John Lennon come out and say this, and everyone's saying, "Hey, look what John said. Now I'm mad"? Or are these people actually graphical experts?
I'm gonna go with no.
Part 3. What are they really mad at? Because they can't be they're mad at a video game.
Everything.
What is really wrong with these people?
I don't know. Yeah, nothing better. Why do you want to replay a game from 2007? Look, I bought Crysis for $3 2 weeks ago. I got it to run on my PC as a lull. I literally spent $3 just to send you guys a joke. I think at this point, because I started playing it, I was like, "This is fine. I don't feel like playing this."
Yeah,
and I got my laugh. I think everyone got their laugh, and then we just moved on. It looks fine. It looks good, but you can tell it was made as long ago as it was
13
years
ago. Yeah, I don't know. Just I feel like there's so many other things you could be upset about or mad. Just fuck.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how good he thought this remaster was going to be. The fucking thing runs on Nintendo Switch. I don't know. I don't need this game to be a meme again for the next 10 years of can it run.
Oh, God. Well, everybody's got their hot jokes, Matt, I think I'm just getting tired of humanity. I think that's where we're at. I don't have patience for this shit anymore. Is that getting older? Is that what that is? Is that
probably?
All right.
You're going to start shaking your cane, but instead of doing it in real life, you just shake your cane at people on the internet.
Oh, God. I'm going to go back to using the internet as a tool. That's it. It's not anything else but a tool. It's a tool to connect you and me once a week to do this, and occasionally look at photographs of video game hardware that I might buy. I mostly just look at pictures of the Sega Saturn. That's my life now.
You really can print them out. You don't even need the internet. Once you print them, you have them. So you can eliminate you just pretty much need the internet for 1 day a week.
This is not, you got me. I might need to I got to get better quality paper and ink, and probably a more photo quality printer though. But what I'll do is I'll make my own magazine of just pictures of the Sega Saturn, and I'll just sit and look at that all day long.
Well, then you make chapters there. Just do a little binder, and then make little tabs, and the next page could be the Dreamcast, and the one after that is the next thing. Probably something from Japan. Probably a Famicom or something.
Or we could do the next Sega console after the Dreamcast.
Why? You're the second person to bring this fucking thing up. No, it's not. You're not getting Sega hardware. Just give up on that dream.
Come on. All right. Speaking of giving up on dreams, Andy McNamara has left Game Informer. Andy McNamara was at Game Informer from the beginning of it, from issue number 1 in 1991. And he's been there this whole time, through so much of it. On GameInformer.com, he's got a little, going away post. It's been 29 years. He's leaving. Andy Rayner will be the new editor-in-chief. He's been there for 26 years. So it's not But yeah, this story stuck out to me because I figured, Andy was going to go down with the ship, right? Like, I feel like, sadly, it's an inevitability that Game Informer is going to get shut down. It's just one of those things where it's like when you find out somebody close to you is diagnosed with something, it's like you just try and enjoy the time you have, right?
I was going to go for more of the Sea of Thieves analogy of like, we know our play session's ending, we know we're about to wreck this ship. I was going to go more little lighthearted there, but all right, fine, we'll stick with yours.
All right, yeah, either way, it's got that vibe to it, like, like GameStop owns this. GameStop's not doing great. GameStop already laid off half the staff twice. Like there's that kind of stuff happening at Game Informer, so it's like I expected him to be there until I expected the next big letter like this from Andy McNamara to say, it's done. Been 29 years. I'm super grateful for all the experiences. GameStop has announced today that blah, blah, blah. However, so he's leaving. He's still staying in video games, but not in video games journalism. I feel like Game Informer and Andy McNamara are synonymous, so it's hard for me to imagine the magazine without him, and it makes me very curious to see what happens after he's gone with both that magazine and GameStop. We'll see. I'm excited to see what he does next, because I feel like that's an interesting shift too, is you do something for 30 years. I mean, I'm 30 now, so, it'll be 31 in a week. Like, I can't imagine doing something this whole time and then just not doing that, or how. Obviously that influences where he goes and what he does, but yeah, I don't know. Strange.
I got nothing for you. I mean, you said it all. I think Game Informer days are numbered.
Yeah, it seems that way. Vice has a report here. I think Vice was the one reporting a lot of this, but EVO 2020 has been canceled officially. Previously, EVO had the physical space of EVO had been canceled, moving to an online event. The first round of streams for that, for qualifiers and stuff like that, preliminaries, were starting, I think, this weekend. Until Thursday, EVO announced that after some serious allegations against the CEO and president of the company, maybe not president, but definitely CEO, that Joey Queller will no longer be involved with EVO in any capacity, working towards complete separation from the company, and have relieved him of all of his responsibilities. And in the wake of it, they're canceling EVO Online. Yeah. A lot of really gross, disgusting stuff coming out around this.
Yeah.
But in the wake of it, yeah, that's it. It started because as the things happened, certain participants, I think Sonic Fox was a notable one, saying that they were not going to be participating in EVO, and then a bunch of others had started to say the same stuff, and then one by one, then EVO outright canceled.
Yep. I got nothing more to say with that.
It's
just respect people. No means no. What other shit did they tell you in school? Like, you should be.
I know it's hard because it's like, it's not like we don't hear this stuff, but like it's hard to know what to say. But it goes back to that stuff, man. It's like the shit that we learned when we were 5 is the most important, like, just day-to-day stuff that you should hold on to forever. And I don't know.
That groan says it all. Ugh.
I just, Yeah. I'll hit you with one more before we break out into our big one for the week. Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition for PC launches August 7th for $49.99. 2 questions, Matt. Are you buying it on the personal computer?
I'm thinking about
that
it.
Face tells me that you're gonna.
I'm thinking about it.
Part 2, can I get trophies?
That's a good question. See, the thing is, I don't need the trophies because I already got the platinum.
But can you get double? You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot of gameplay. Again.
Yeah.
And we're going platinum hunting. I still got one on the table that every time I turn on that PlayStation, that tile just looks at me in the fucking face. That little bonfire with the Dark Souls. Yeah. It's right there.
Yeah.
I got through the hard... That was the thing. If the challenge was at the end, because I'm an asshole, it would be done. But I got through the hard part, and now I got to do some grinding.
Yeah, no, nobody wants to do that. Speaking of things nobody wants to do, Matt, it seems like as 2K announced, the cover athletes and special edition of NBA 2K21 this week, subsequently they ushered in a new hot debate sweeping across people. I bet people aren't as mad about this as they are about some other bullshit. I bet you. But also, okay, never mind. I'm not gonna. I already forgot about the thing. People are mad about Crysis, right? But how many people are mad about like the Evo stuff, the allegation? Like, how many people are like out there screaming about all the inequality and injustice and fucked up, terrible things that these monsters people do? How many people are fucking actively mad about that? Or versus whether or not a fucking tree is rendered at fuck you. God damn it, man. Can you imagine if people like put their energy into actual things to hate? Real fucked up. God damn it. Anyway, let's get fucking mad about spending $10 more on video games we don't want to buy. NBA 2K21 launches for the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, and Stadia.
Oh my god,
someone
Stadia.
Remembered. On September 4th for $59.99, and for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X as a launch title when those consoles launch for $69.99. The very astute listeners out there may have noticed there that the PS5 and Xbox Series X version is $10 more. And out of GamesIndustry.biz, it seems like that is not the only one. Games research firm IDG Consulting says that the last time that next-gen launch software pricing went up was in 2005 and 2006, going from $49.99 to $50.99 at the start of the Xbox 360 and PS3 generation. During that time, the costs and prices in other affiliated verticals have gone up. He says that next-generation console production game production costs have increased by 200 to 300% depending on the IP, studio, and genre, but the prices have remained at $59.99. Meanwhile, cinema ticket prices have risen 39%, Netflix subscription costs have gone up 100%, and cable TV packages have risen by 105%.
Well, cable is getting cut left and right, so...
Yeah. Even with the increase, $10 more to $69.99 for next gen, that price increase from 2005 to 2020 next gen is only up 17%, far lower than the other comparisons. While the cost of development and publishing have gone up, and pricing in other entertainment verticals has also gone up substantially, next gen software pricing has not reflected these increases. 59 to 69 does not even cover the other cost increases completely, but does move it more in the proper direction. He says that, so this is the specific part here. Working with all major game publishers, our channel checks indicate that other publishers are also exploring moving their next-gen pricing up on certain franchises for the same reasons outlined above. Not every game, but AAA games such as NBA 2K merit this pricing more than others. So, we have not seen an across-the-board increase like that since 2005, 2006.
PS3, Xbox 360.
Yeah, but at the same time, we've also seen a huge shift in the marketplace as well. We've seen the complete bottom out of that middle tier software that would have come in at like your $20 to $30 price point. The introduction of the indie developer into the marketplace, the advent of Steam becoming so popular and then driving that, and oftentimes games there hit a discount pretty quickly. So I think the market generally has changed, but the one thing that is, I think, true is development is so much. And we just talked about The Last of Us, and there's the cost monetarily of something like The Last of Us, but there's also the cost on the human side of things that we see reported on all the time about crunch, and what goes into a game like that. And to think about how much that game is and how little time it was put together, there's all of that consideration. And there's a story that is getting some whatever. Sean Layden tweeted
Traction.
Sean Layden tweeted about games needing to go back to 15 hours or something like that. And I think that was in the wake of him playing The Last of Us Part 2. And yeah, I mean, look, we're not going to The Last of Us 2 stuff, but like I play through the game. I'm not upset for the amount of time I spent with that game, but it's a long game. And there is something to the fact, like, I beat Metroid Other M the other week, start to finish, in 9 hours, and felt like I got a complete experience. And yes, I know I paid $7 for it 9 years ago, but I feel like if I would have paid $100 for that game, I got my money's worth out of it because I enjoyed it. I think also the other big thing here that we're not talking about is Game Pass. I realized last week, I did it impulsively during the middle of our break when I bought The Last of Us, but I have not spent $60 on a game since Doom. No, Final Fantasy. I guess like this year it's been Final Fantasy, Doom, and Animal Crossing are the three that I did. Oh shit, never mind. I bought Tokyo Mirage. All right, I'm foot and mouth a little bit here. But let's put it this way. The regularity of me buying things at launch, full price, has decreased significantly since getting something like Game Pass. And to be honest, I accidentally have PlayStation Now for 3 months. Not accidentally, on purpose. But I got that little, movie theater, whatever. Hey, you got all these bullshit points from seeing movies that you don't use to buy popcorn, so use it for this. And having PlayStation Now, I still don't know. Like, part of me is like, I could just keep that. I could keep that and Game Pass and be set with more than enough to play. And then just, when it comes time to drop $60 on something, do that on Switch. Like, there's part of me that could ride that. And I don't know. I think that something like Game Pass has changed the way that we buy games. It's made it almost in a way like how we look at something like Netflix or Hulu. Like, you're not going to get every movie that comes out on Netflix or Hulu, but you get what you need, right? Like, I don't know. Yeah. Where do you follow this? Sorry, I kind of threw out so many.
I don't mind the the per hour count towards dollar. Like, I don't believe in that. I think, like, if $60, if it's, I'd rather not be a 2-hour experience, but if it is, but it's one of the best 2-hour experiences I've ever had, like, I think it's worth it. I mean, I guess I a little bit I care, but like, I don't know, like, I just spent $14 or $15.99, as you said earlier, on Death Become Us. I beat it. I don't want to say the exact time, but like, somewhere between an hour and a half to 3 hours, you could probably take to beat that game. But the experience or whatever. But yeah, like, I don't mind if it has to go up $10 to help the industry. That's fine. Someone has a little bit more disposable income now, and the amount of times I do drop $60, like, I probably drop $60 more than you at the current rate of things.
Give that 2 weeks.
What do you mean? Give that 2 weeks?
Once you're in your apartment.
Yeah, that's true. Like I said, disposable income.
No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if I, even if I was budgeting it out a little bit, like, if I spend $60 more times than I probably should in a year, if I just cut one of those games out, like, I probably have enough now to just go to 70. And like I said, a lot of it is like kind of impulsive. Like, Ghost of Tsushima. Like, I have I have a unique bank where I can kind of set savings goals. So if I know a release date like months in advance, like every time I get a paycheck, it's like I feel like it's like pennies coming out towards the thing. So if I really am anticipating something, I have the money already. Like Cyberpunk,
Yeah.
I am worried about budgeting for that game because it's pennies. Every paycheck is going towards that goal. So the way I budget, it doesn't really bother me if I had to go up to 70 or whatever. But like the Impulse one, might go away a little bit, but I don't even know what to try. I'm just rambling. I don't even know my point I'm trying to make.
Here's a weird thing about my brain. I'm going to say this and let's see if this makes sense. I remember when I was a kid, I would, if I'm getting ready in the morning and it's 7:46 a.m., I'm like, I'm good. I got 15 minutes. If it turns to 7:47, I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to be late. It's a minute's difference. But something about that 6 to the 7 just feels... So something about 60 to 70 feels like it's $100, where 60 feels like it's $50. So I feel like there is a shift there in the like balance. It doesn't make any sense, I know, but it's something about that tip.
I've pulled that shit with Steam before. I've had 40 cents in my wallet or something, and something all of a sudden goes from like 25 to 24. Because I have 40 cents. I'm like, I can do 24. 25 seems steep, but 20... Like, I've pulled that shit before. I know what you mean.
So something about it does feel a little bit more expensive, but it doesn't address the real problem, which is something like NBA 2K21 doesn't make its money by you buying a $70 copy. It makes its money by you gambling inside the game. And I think that until we can get to a point where games feel okay... I like the price tag now is like, it's not the game at all. Like I don't know. I would be very curious to see how much profit they see from you buying their game versus you gambling in the game.
And that's the thing. You talked about the market change, but even the pricing structures have changed, right? Like we launched with the online pass from EA, and if you bought used, you didn't get that pass, and you had to buy that pass separately. We saw that like with some publishers, and then that failed. And then since then, we've like the new trend is a season pass. Everything has a fucking season pass now. Like you can't escape it. Now, like those season passes are usually pretty smart. Where like if you play it enough, you can usually get the next one for free. Like Rocket League does that. Call of Duty does that. Probably Fortnite, you would get enough currency to do the next thing. But like where they get their things are like, oh well, look at this cosmetic. You have 400 V-Bucks. You only need 600. If you kind of nickel and dimes, you can get this.
And that's the thing too, is there are people who, because I think you did, right? Didn't you get the season pass with the money you had already earned?
What for? Modern Warfare?
Warzone.
Yeah, what was it? Oh yeah, I think I bought the first one because I was playing it so much. But then this year I got to a point where it was enough where I just pulled the trigger and then we were good.
So. That's you. You are the like exception to their known rule.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't put that in there if they like most people who are playing the game long enough to earn enough credit to then buy the next season's pass are also the people that are so dedicated to that game that when something comes along where they will spend money, they will spend money. You're the exception to that rule where you're like, I already got it. I'm good. I'm fine. But there's so many people who are like, oh, well, now there's a skin that makes me look like Boba Fett, so I'm going to do that. I love Boba Fett. And I hate Crysis. Like that's...
Like, some of the skins look cool, but I never understood buying skins in a first-person shooter. I never understood, well, never will to this day. Because I'm not seeing me, others are seeing me.
I guarantee it's the same people who are complaining about a tree in Crysis I'm sorry, I'm harping on that too much, but yeah, I'm with you, man. You see it in the loading screen sometimes, depending on the game.
In Warzone, you see it for 3 seconds. If it's not bugged, because my character has been bugged before in the fucking plane jumping out. So, like,
love that.
So, like, I don't know. I'm not opposed to the $70. I get your point though about this is NBA, like NBA 2K. Like, I bet you not even a third of their money comes from the initial purchase.
Right.
So
now something that The Last of Us That does, right? Like that's coming from that, and that really the $70, like the analyst here says, does not address the real problem. There is that $70 doesn't cover. It starts, it's getting to that. It's getting closer to covering the cost of that, but and I think as we move into a more all digital space, there's a lot of those factors that get cut out of it, so that the more profit is going back to those pockets, but. With something like The Last of Us, we're talking first party. So the 30% cut that happens on the store doesn't happen because PlayStation's doing that. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all internal. But when you're talking like, I don't know, the next Assassin's Creed, like it's 30% off the top of whatever that game is goes to the respective publishers. And then after that, then it like all that money just gets divvied up across the board.
So one of the things I think, that is not getting talked about here is between like the PS3 and the PS4, we didn't get that price hike, but a lot of stuff went digitally. And when you don't like, they got a pseudo increase in their profits by us going digital, because the thing with digital was when it was first coming out, it was like, oh, the prices are going to drop because they don't have to manufacture all those discs and boxes and shipping and all that stuff. They just give it to us digitally, but we never saw that.
No,
not on the consumer side.
We did.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think part of it is
because we can't, right?
Yeah.
We really just can't.
So I think that's why we waited so long on this inevitability, because there's no secret. And remember, PlayStation 1 was like $40, PlayStation 2 was $50. Then we got the PlayStation 3. It was, I'm saying PlayStation, but like that generation, everything just increased 10, 10, 10. I'm honestly shocked we didn't see it sooner.
The thing is, though, PlayStation 2 era, you kind of had that standard of 50, but prior to that, you didn't have a standard. You could buy a game on Super Nintendo that was $80, a PS1 JRPG that was $90, or a skateboarding game that was $12, right? Like $12, but it was, the pricing structure was all over the place back then too, in a way that it is now. But that standard really happened in that middle chunk area.
It is what it is, but like you complain about movie tickets go up in price. You're at the point now with cable where we just cut cable.
But also like movie ticket prices go up, and then movie theaters introduce something like the movie club or whatever the hell, right? All that stuff. Mm-hmm. So, there's...
Times are weird. Digital has made things weird. And
but then you think about, right, like, it's a little different. But think about a service like Spotify or Apple Music where you pay that flat fee every month and you have access to the whole library. Asterisk, exceptions, right? Yeah. I get it. But like right now the problem with something like Game Pass or with PlayStation Now is that I can't play everything that I'd want to play on those services. With something like Apple Music, I can listen to basically everything I want to listen to on that service, right?
And like
there might be,
I was gonna say, and like Xbox goes new like day one, and like and
their first party stuff, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
And then like in music when a new album drops, unless like you're a Taylor Swift or someone that can like afford to like wait a month, like new music's dropping on Apple Music the same day as the actual album comes out, or Spotify or whatever.
Yeah, and then there might be smaller bands who put out something that's not available on those services, but most bands these days want their stuff on everything because
there's a high chance of
it's the way they make their money, right? Well, it's not the way they make their money. They make their money from merch and tour, but that's, beside the point. There's not the same thing with, Xbox, like, or with Game Pass or PS Now. I think that it could get there, and I think this generation is going to be telling for that, especially in the wake of stuff like another price increase, but I feel like this is just the beginning of a weird... This generation already seemed weird, and it's just going to get weirder, I think. Looking back at the last one, like, I think there's a lot of growing pains. I think that's... If we look back at the last 10 years of video games, it's like... It kind of sucked.
The thing I find weird is PlayStation 5 and Series X go to $69.99, but why not PC? And then why not Stadia either? Because they can push next gen on those. I say next gen in quotes, but like they can push the limits on those.
I think that the catch here is that the next generation version is only the Kobe version. Is that right?
No, both. You can get standard or the Mamba edition.
Okay, all right,
gen.
I'm wrong. All right, never mind.
The covers are different, but yeah.
Okay, I thought that was the reason that like they were going to do it that way, but yeah. But no, I feel like looking back at the last decade, like if you really think about like what games are like, when I say this last generation sucked, I don't mean that wholly, right? Obviously, there's great games that came out, but like think about how much crap has changed, and how like you said, everything has a battle pass, everything has a service, and like the games themselves have been lost along the way, like in favor of profit, right? And like you can't blame them, right? Like
No.
If you want to play games, people need to make games. If you want people to make games, those people need to be paid, and everything that surrounds it needs to turn a profit. That's how shit works. The problem is that the money coming into the studios is not enough, so then they have to resort to stuff like we've been, resorted to. And
then you can keep going further down in this rabbit hole. Like, you hear the shit from 2K or, like an Activision or 2K, and then like all of a sudden their CEO made more money hands over fist than the previous year.
Which, right,
and then, and that gets into a whole different subject, but like that's where like you get into some of these problems. But I don't know. That's like it all is all shitty. Just I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean that too. Like that stuff always comes up when you hear about studios.
They're not hurting for money; they're making more money. Like that's the thing. That's the thing
right.
too.
But that money's not being fed back into.
Correct.
It's being fed into the pockets of the people at the top.
Yep. So that's like another way. So yeah, everything sucks.
Coincidentally,
let's go and reset era. We'll yell about it, and then we'll move on with our lives.
I'm just gonna go play Arkham Origins, I think.
I actually have it. It's one of the few PlayStation 3 games I have out.
All right, here's my question. Do I play Arkham Origins via PlayStation Now, or go back to Arkham City and play through that again? Because last summer I played through Arkham Asylum on Xbox. Those games have since been taken off Game Pass, but I could do New Game Plus on my PS3 Arkham City save.
Play Origins.
Or do I go even fucking deeper? Arkham Origins Blackgate on the PlayStation Vita.
Oh my god. I forgot that was a game.
Yeah, that might be the hit right there, dude.
The Vita.
Well, we're gonna go Vita on out of here. That's all I got. What's your plans for the week?
I don't know. I know I'm gonna go back to disco. I'm gonna race some more. I feel like I play something on the console, but I just don't know what. So I don't know. I might get into something weird.
Interesting.
I don't even know where. I don't have an idea when I want to play, but I might scroll through the Game Pass library. I might go through a couple sales because, like you said, I got 2 weeks left of like of spending money like that. So I don't know. I might go through see what's on sale. I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, like I don't know if this is something like I'm conscious of, but I think a post Last of Us 2 world, I'm like, I don't know what to like. Immediately after finishing that game, I fired up Animal Crossing, and I was like, let me just do this. And I started wandering around there, and I was like, I don't want to do this at all. Just turned it off, and then I went and read comic books or something instead.
I got some things I'll visit. I might not necessarily talk about them next week, but like Artifact and Motorsport. But like I don't know.
Yeah, I might check out that Sinnoh Alice game on mobile. Otherwise, who knows?
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah. But hey, if you like this episode, you can find it and the rest of them over on thefreecheese.com or on your favorite podcast service. Just on one podcast service, but you can find us there. You could follow us all on Twitter. The Free Cheese is at Some Free Cheese. Matt is at MattyAce131. I am at The Free Cheese. Podcast at thefreecheese.com gets you a letter to us, and then we read it on here. If you have a question, ask us anything. That's it. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, listener, for listening. We'll see you next time.